Hi guys, and welcome back to the Crochet Tour YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing another tutorial. So what I'm going to be making today is a character from one of my favourite games, which is The Binding of Isaac. I like to play this on the Switch mostly nowadays, but I did build up quite a lot of achievements on the Steam version as well. So yeah, I really like this game. I've played hours and hours of it. And I've actually never done a pattern for any of the characters, I don't think. So yeah, today I thought I would make Baby Plum, which is one of the bosses, one of the new bosses, I think, in the new DLC. So this is what it looks like. And this is actually my first time really properly using chenille yarn, so this was a slightly new experience for me. It is a bit more tricky than using standard acrylic or wool or cotton, but I really enjoyed it, and I really like how it turned out with the soft finish. So yeah, if you're interested in finding out how to crochet this, then keep watching. So for this project what you'll be needing is some red chunky chenille yarn. I used the Signet brand, but you can get this in a lot of different brands. Then you need some black Aran yarn, some white Aran yarn. For hooks you need both 4 and 5mm, so the 5 will be for the chenille yarn and the 4 will be for the Aran, because the chenille yarn is chunky weight, so it would be quite difficult to use a 4mm hook on that. Then I have my needle. You'll be needing some fabric glue. This is just to stick the mouth down, so I've added a dab of glue to this part here to make sure that the mouth stays in this expression. Then you'll be needing, as usual, scissors, stuffing, quite a lot of stuffing actually, and stitch marker, or like I use just a bit of yarn. And I think that's everything that you'll be needing, so yeah, not too many materials required. And this will be quite a quick video because the parts are pretty straightforward for this, and like I say, the most challenging part of this will probably just be using the chenille yarn itself if you haven't had much experience with that. And yeah, that's it. So keep watching. We're going to start making the main head slash body first, and as always the written pattern is available for free in the description box, so if you would rather just do this at your own pace or just have this up while you're watching the video, then feel free to click the link to my blog down below. Right, let's get started. So taking our red chunky chenille yarn, the first step we're going to do is to chain 2. Now we're not starting with a magic circle this time because using a magic circle with chenille yarn is very difficult, I find. So we're going to use the chain 2 method this time. So 1, 2, and then we're going to do 4 single crochets in the second chain from hook. And now we should have 4 single crochets in the round, so 1, 2, 3, 4. It is a little bit more tricky to see the stitches with chenille yarn, but the more you use it, the more you'll get used to that. So for round 2 we're going to do 3 single crochets in each single crochet all the way around, so we'll end up with 12 at the end of the round. And for every single increase for the body it's going to be 3 single crochets in the stitch and not 2 like a standard increase. So I'm just explaining this now so that when I tell you the rest of the rounds you'll understand that we always need to do 3 single crochets into the stitch and not 2. So I'll show you this now for round 2. So this, again, it can be a bit difficult to do the first few rounds with chenille yarn, but the more you practice, the more you'll get used to it. So 1, 2, 3, 11, 12. So now you should have 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 at the end of round 2. So I'm just going to explain the next few rounds because it's basically the same stitches again, but just in different multiples. So every round you'll find that the number of single crochets at the end of the round increases by 8 because we're going to be doing 4 increases where we're doing 3 single crochets in the stitch. So for round 3 we need to do 2 single crochets, increase 4 times to get us to 20. For round 4, 4 single crochet, increase 4 times to get us to 28. Round 5, 6 single crochet, increase 4 times to get us to 36. Round 6, 8 single crochet, increase 4 times to get us to 44. And then round 7, 10 single crochet, increase 4 times to get us to 52. And then for rounds 8 to 17, so that's 10 rounds, we're just going to be single crocheting all the way around. So I will meet you at the end of round 17, and in my written pattern I will make sure to make it clear when an increase needs 3 single crochets in the stitch and when it just needs a standard 2, so hopefully you'll be able to follow that, but yeah, I'll meet you at the end of round 17. So I've reached the end of round 17 now, so you should have something that looks similar to this. And now in round 18 we're going to start decreasing, and basically we're just going to do the inverse of the increase rounds that we did to start with. So for round 18 we're going to do 10 single crochets, then decrease over 3 single crochets, and then repeat that 3 more times to get us down to 44 at the end of the round. So I'll just show you an example of that. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we're going to decrease over 3 single crochets. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, yarn over, pull through all the loops. So yeah, then we're going to repeat that 3 more times, and that'll get us to 44 at the end of round 18. And I'll just talk you through the next few rounds as well because they're very similar. So round 19, 8 single crochet, decrease over 3 stitches 4 times in total to get us to 36. Then round 20, 6 single crochet, decrease over 3 stitches 4 times to get us to 28. And then round 21, 4 single crochet, decrease over 3 stitches 4 times, and that'll get us to 20. And I will meet you at the end of round 21 because this is the point where I'm going to start stuffing, and I also want to show you how to close off the main head and body. So yeah, I'll meet you at the end of round 21. So I finished round 21 and I've stuffed the body / head. What I would say when you're stuffing is use more than you think, because with this type of chenille yarn there's actually not really any visible holes, which means that you can add more stuffing than you perhaps could usually before it starts to, you know, create gaps that are visible and then the stuffing starts poking through. So yeah, that would be my one tip for that. I am zoomed out as far as I can, and you still can't see this very well, so apologies for that, but I mean, it's just, you can imagine what it looks like. It's just basically a big sphere at this point. So I'm just going to show you what to do for the final couple of rounds. So for round 22, we're just going to do 2 single crochet and then decrease over 3 stitches, and we're going to repeat that 3 more times, and that will get us down to 12 single crochets at the end of the round. So So that was the first lot, so I did 2 single crochets and then a decrease over 3 stitches. I'm just going to finish the end of round 22 off camera because this is a bit of an awkward angle for me, just because this is so big at this point, so I'll meet you at the end of round 22. Okay, so I've now reached the end of round 22 and I've got 12 single crochets all the way around, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to do a decrease over 3 stitches 4 times, so just do that all the way around and that will get you down to 4 single crochets, so I'll meet you once you've completed that. So as you can see, I've got my final round complete, so I've got the 4 single crochets all the way around. Don't worry about little bits of stuffing that have sort of come through as we've been doing the last few rounds. You can just pick those off once you've finished everything. So what we're going to do now is just simply cut the yarn, leaving a little bit of a tail, and then pull through. And then, as we would do normally, we're just going to feed that tail through every one of the 4 single crochets and then pull, but just be very careful when you pull on chenille yarn because it can snap quite easily. So that's just what I'm going to do now. So 1, 2, 3. You could almost just stop at this point because you can't really see a hole anymore, but I'm just going to do the final one. So 4. Just pull slightly, don't pull too tight because, as I say, it will snap. And there you go, I'm happy with that. So now all I'm going to do is, as usual, I'm just going to feed this through a yarn needle. You might need a slightly bigger yarn needle than usual because obviously this is a chunky yarn, so just see what you have. And I'm just going to feed that through into a random stitch anywhere on the head/body, and then just snip the yarn as close as I can to the surface to hide that. So yeah, as you can see, I had to grab this plastic needle because my metal ones I couldn't get it to fit through. So I'm just going to go into the hole and then come out of a random stitch. And again, pull very gently with chenille because it's quite difficult to work with. And it's come out here, and then I'm just going to, you could do it a few more times if you want to be extra secure, but I find that this is always fine for me, so I'm just going to snip that and I'll clean that up later and clean up the bits of stuffing showing through. But I'm just going to do another angle now to show you exactly what this looks like now that it's complete, and then the next thing we're going to move on to doing is the eyes. So just showing you this from another angle now, so you basically should just have one big red ball essentially, and as I mentioned, we're now going to move on to the eyes. I've made an eye already, and this is what it's going to look like when it's finished. So just to talk you through the components, there's obviously one large black circle, one medium-sized white circle, and then here I've just embroidered this little circle at the corner here because it actually came out too big when I made an actual circle, so I thought I'd just embroider it instead. So yeah, so there's only 2 parts that we actually need to crochet at this point. We need to crochet the black circle and the white circle here. So they're very simple. We'll start with the black circle. So I'll just talk you through what you need to do because it is so simple. You just need to do 6 single crochets in a magic circle. Then you need to increase all around, and that'll get you to 12 single crochets at the end of round 2. And then you need to single crochet increase 6 times, and that'll get you to 18 single crochets at the end of round 3. And I'll just show you at the end of round 3 how I finish off with a fake single crochet so that you can't really tell looking at this where the final round ended, and it just looks like a bit more of a complete circle. So yep, I'll meet you at the end of round 3. So we're at the end of round 3, so this is what it should look like. We're going to cut the yarn, leaving a long tail so that we can sew this to the head/body. So then we're just pulling that through like so. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to finish off with a fake single crochet. So we're going to turn our work, we're going to skip the next single crochet, so skip this one, and instead we're going to insert our hook into this one. We're going to pull the yarn through, then we're going to go back to the last single crochet of round 3, insert our hook into the front loop from our perspective at the moment, and then we're going to pull the yarn through like this. And as you can see, that just makes the circle look a lot more complete and less clear where the round ended. So now that that's finished, we're going to just do the white circle as well. And this is so straightforward that I don't even really need to show you how to do this, so I'll just tell you. We're literally just going to do 4 single crochets in a magic circle. And then I decided to also finish this part off with a fake single crochet as well, completely up to you if you want to do that or not. So I will meet you when I have finished that, and then we'll put all the parts together to create the second eye. Okay, so I've got both components now. Just one important thing to note about the white circle I did. When we did the fake single crochet for the black circle, you'll note that I skipped the first single crochet and just pulled the yarn through the second one. But for the white circle, I didn't actually skip a stitch. So we've kind of almost created 5 single crochets in the round, if you can see what I'm saying. So it goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whereas usually when you finish off with a fake single crochet you just remain with the same amount of single crochets in the final round. It doesn't make a massive difference, I just preferred how it looked using that method, so you could choose to do the same thing. I just thought it was worth mentioning if you noticed that they looked a little bit different. So now what we need to do is we need to decide where we're going to place this white circle on the eye. So I'm just gonna, I think it's gonna go about here, but I'm just gonna grab the other eye to make sure that it's consistent looking. So this is the eye that I finished before, and as you can see the fake single crochet finished at this point, so I'm probably going to just make sure that my black circle is laying the same way so that it's consistent. So yeah, I'm probably going to place the white circle about here, so I'm just going to pin that down. You can use pins if you want, or you can choose not to, that's completely fine. So I'm just going to have it there, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this down, so I will meet you once we finished sewing this part down. Okay, so as you can see, I've now sewn down the white circle on this eye, and I've made it fairly consistent with this eye. So the final step is just to make this little dot at the corner. So you could in fact use one of these yarn tails if they're long enough to do that. So I'm just going to snip this, and I'm just going to pop this on my needle, and then all I'm going to do is again just try and be as consistent as possible with the eye that I've already done. So I'm going to select a stitch, pull through, leave a little bit of a tail at the back for tying that down. Then I'm just going to pick a very nearby stitch and go through that one like so, and then I'm just going to do that a couple more times. That's what I did on the first eye. So go back into this stitch, oops, getting a bit tangled at the back here, then into this one, then once more, like so, and then I'm just going to compare the two. I think they're fairly consistent, although this one looks a little bit bigger, so I might just do a bit of tweaking and see if I can sort of pull that through a bit tighter or something to make it look more like the first eye. And if you're ever unhappy, you can always just completely pull everything out and do it all again. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But once I've done that, that'll effectively be it. I'll just need to tie these white ends together and cut, and then the eyes will be ready to sew down. So yeah, once that's finished, and obviously you'll need to do all these steps twice to get 2 eyes, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to crochet the wings using the white yarn again. So I will meet you once you have your completed eyes. So the wings are very easy to make. As you can see, these are quite simple pieces, so I'm just going to talk you through what to do. So you'll just need your white Aran yarn and your 4mm crochet hook, and all you need to do is round 1, 4 single crochets in a magic circle, round 2, increase all around, that'll get you to 8 at the end of round 2, then round 3, 3 single crochet, increase, and then repeat that once more to get you to 10 single crochets at the end of the round. Rounds 4 to 8, simply single crochet all the way around, so that's 5 rounds of single crocheting all around. And then round 9, decrease all around, and that'll get you to 5 single crochets at the end of round 9. So yep, just make 2 of these, and then we'll move on to making the arms and legs. So this is what the arms and legs should look like once you've finished. They're both crocheted in exactly the same way, so it's effectively just 4 of exactly the same pattern. And again, these are really simple, so I'm just going to talk you through what you need to do. For this, you'll need your red chenille chunky yarn, and you'll need your 5mm hook. So for round 1, you just need to chain 2 and then work 4 single crochets in the second chain from hook, because again, using magic circles with chenille yarn is quite tricky, so I prefer to use the chain 2 method. Then for round 2, you need to single crochet, increase, and then repeat that once more to get you to 6 single crochets at the end of round 2. And then for rounds 3 to 4, you just simply single crochet all the way around, and then that's it. And then just of course make sure you leave enough yarn for sewing. So that is the arms and legs, and that is actually all the crocheted parts. So once you finish that, I'm going to show you the process as I sew everything together and embroider the mouth on the finished plum. So yep, I will meet you when you finish the arms and legs. So the first thing I've done, as you can see here, is I've just pinned down the eyes. I have pinned them down to around rounds 10 to 14, I think, but just place them wherever you think looks best and use a picture to guide you as well. So I'm just going to sew those down now, and then I think the next step I'll move on to is sewing the wings down. So as you can see, I've now sewn down the eyes, and what I've done is, with one of the yarn tails, this one here, I've just pushed it through one of the stitches in the eye, and I'm probably just going to snip that close, and then you won't be able to see it. But for the other tail, because it was long enough, what I've done is I've actually fed it through the centre of the face so that I can make a little mouth here, and that's the tail there, and I'm going to snip that once I've finished. So in order to make the mouth stay down like this, I'm just going to take a dab of my fabric glue, so I'm just using this one. And yeah, once I've done that and it's dried, then I'll just snip this yarn tail and snip that tail up there, and then I'm going to move on to sewing the wings, so I will show you how I do that as well. I'm about to sew the wings on, and just one extra detail that I decided to add is just a little black line through the centre, and I literally just took the black yarn tails from sewing down the eyes and the mouth, and I just used those to make those little lines in the centre. So you can add that detail if you want, but it just adds a bit of extra detail to the wings. And then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew them down probably about here, so they're going to be quite close to each other. I'll show you once I've finished, but I'm probably going to sew them probably on rounds 2 to 5, I reckon. And yeah, fairly close together. I'm not going to pin them down because I just prefer not to for things that sort of stand out like wings and stuff. But yeah, I'll show you once I've finished what it ends up looking like, and I'll then show you how I'm going to place the arms and legs. I finished sewing the wings down, so now the final step is to do the arms and legs. Now again, I'm not going to pin down personally, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the arms very close to the eyes, so probably about here on either side, and then for the legs I'm just going to do them slightly beneath, so maybe around here. So yep, I will show you once I finish that, and then that will be the little baby plum will be finished. So yep, I'll show you once I finish that. So here we go, this is the final baby plum. I've sewn down all the parts. And yeah, that's it. So I know this is probably quite a short video because the different components were actually fairly simple, and probably the most challenging part of this pattern would have been working with the chenille yarn if you're not very experienced using that, which to be honest I'm not. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and you like how your baby plum turned out, and yeah, keep your eyes peeled for more tutorials and more crochet related content from me.